Have you ever wondered what might happen if you pressed pause on the hurried tempo of everyday life and dared to listen to the quiet voice within your soul? Most of us rush from moment to moment, rarely pausing long enough to understand our true emotions or thoughts. Yet, it is within these reflective pauses that profound growth and transformation quietly unfold. This book invites you to explore simple but profound self-reflection techniques that can ignite your inner spark, rewire your mindset, and gently guide you toward lasting emotional growth. Are you ready to discover what truly lies within? Soul Pause, Deep Reflection for Emotional Growth, written and published by Awaken Vision. Chapter 1. There are moments in life when the world feels dim, when the days blur into each other, and it becomes hard to remember the last time you felt genuinely excited or inspired. This sensation, that dull ache or persistent sense that something's missing, visits everyone from time to time. Have you ever caught yourself staring out a window, watching the sun crawl across the sky, wondering where your spark has gone? If you have, you are far from alone. The challenge here is universal. Many people walk through life without truly engaging with what makes them feel alive, moving as though on autopilot, accomplishing tasks but feeling disconnected from them. This slippery sense of drifting can gradually erode your motivation and make your dreams seem distant or even irrelevant. Understanding this problem matters because the feeling of emptiness or lack of direction doesn't just affect your mood. It seeps into your relationships, productivity, and sense of self-worth. When you lose touch with that inner fire, even the most promising opportunities can appear uninspiring or intimidating. Work turns into obligation, friendships feel less vibrant, and your goals recede into the background noise of daily demands. Small things start to weigh heavily. Making decisions becomes harder, responsibilities feel overwhelming, and even enjoyable activities lose their color. When the flame within you is dim, life itself seems to dim too, draining energy and weakening hope. If left unaddressed, this can spiral into deeper feelings of frustration or helplessness, feeding a cycle that becomes harder to break the longer it continues. Imagine Sarah, for example, who once loved painting but grew busy with her job and daily routines. Now every day feels like repetition. She wakes up, gets ready, sits through meetings, returns home, eats, and unwinds by flicking mindlessly through screens. She cannot remember the last time she felt that pop of joy, the small thrill that used to arrive when she mixed colors or completed a canvas. Even though she achieves plenty in her work, an emotional fog has settled. Something important is missing, and like many, Sarah finds it easier to dismiss or cover up these feelings than to address them head-on. You may recognize yourself in Sarah, or in friends who have stopped pursuing hobbies, or whose laughter comes less easily than before. The outward signs are not always obvious. They might arrive as restlessness, boredom, apathy, or just a nagging sense that fulfillment is slipping away. It can be difficult to admit when you're running on fumes, but recognizing this challenge is the first act of courage and care. By seeing the problem clearly, you already begin to create a space for change. It is a bold thing to realize that your inner flame matters. Reigniting it is not about grand transformations overnight, but about being present with yourself and taking the first simple steps to listen, reflect, and reconnect. The journey ahead will guide you to gently rediscover what brings light back into your days, one soulful pause at a time. The solution to reigniting your inner flame lies in the simple yet powerful practice of self-reflection. This technique is more than just taking a moment to think about your day. It involves intentionally pausing and looking beneath the surface of your daily experiences and feelings. When you stop and honestly ask yourself what you're feeling, why you're feeling it, and what truly matters to you in that moment, you start to tune back into the parts of yourself that often go unheard. Like gently cleaning a window that has gathered dust, regular self-reflection helps to clear away the confusion, stress, or fatigue clouding your perspective, making it possible to see more brightly again. Self-reflection works to address emotional dullness because it breaks the cycle of thoughtless routine. Research in psychology shows that the act of pausing and looking inward, even briefly, helps activate regions of the brain related to emotional awareness and decision-making. By simply becoming aware of your thoughts, emotions, and motivations, you create new connections in your brain. These connections encourage you to recognize old patterns that no longer serve you and invite new, healthier ways of understanding and living. This process doesn't require hours of effort. Studies indicate that just a few mindful minutes a day set aside for honest reflection can deliver noticeable improvements in well-being and satisfaction. What makes self-reflection particularly powerful is its ability to reveal the underlying needs and values that ignite your internal drive. Often, when your life feels dim, you might be acting in ways that do not match your values or what really matters to you. For Sarah, taking even 15 minutes once a week to pause and ask, "When was the last time I felt truly alive? What was I doing?" might easily remind her of the joys of painting or spending time in nature. Once she names these joys, they become visible again, no longer buried under tasks or obligations. This recognition is often all it takes to start making room for sparks of inspiration to come back into daily life. The benefit of practicing regular self-reflection goes beyond simply noticing your feelings. Over time, it builds a friendly relationship with yourself. When you pause and listen to your thoughts without judgment, you are offering yourself compassion and creating a safe space where your true desires can surface. This gentle self-acceptance is linked in scientific studies to higher resilience, greater creativity, and improved coping skills when life gets rough or uncertain. Even on days that feel ordinary, you may notice subtle shifts, a new idea, a moment of gratitude, or a kind word you offer yourself, growing from your willingness to pause and look within. Making self-reflection a gentle habit means giving yourself breathing space each day to ask, "How am I really?" or "What am I missing right now?" In practicing this, you affirm that your emotions and desires matter just as much as your accomplishments. The clarity you gain helps you take practical steps toward rekindling your passion, whether that's reconnecting with a cherished hobby, reaching out to friends, or simply enjoying a sunset without distraction. As you learn to value these soulful pauses, you begin to reclaim the parts of yourself that shine, lighting the way forward one thoughtful moment at a time. Embracing the practice of self-reflection can lead to remarkable and lasting changes in your life. With regular use, you will notice yourself experiencing sharper clarity, improved decision-making, and enhanced emotional balance. This gentle approach frequently results in a sense of renewed energy and purpose, where you begin to see more possibilities rather than limitations in your everyday world. As you grow more in tune with your innermost self, the work you put into understanding your feelings and desires transforms into bravery and self-belief. Relationships improve as communication deepens, your sense of well-being brightens, and stress is more manageable because you have created a habit of checking in with your mind and heart before reacting. Over time, reflection not only nurtures your relationship with yourself, but also strengthens your connection to others and expands your capacity for joy and resilience. Bringing self-reflection into your routine is a process of forming a new and nurturing habit. Start by setting aside even a few minutes each day, perhaps before bed or as you drink your first cup of tea in the morning. Find a peaceful place, close your eyes if you like, and ask yourself a simple question, such as, "What stood out to me today?" or "What am I grateful for right now?" Allow your answers to come honestly, without judging them as right or wrong. Journaling your responses can be particularly powerful, as writing them down helps your mind process and release what it is carrying. If you feel stuck, try taking a gentle walk outside or listening to music that lets your thoughts flow. Over time, you can expand your reflection by exploring deeper questions such as, "When do I feel most alive?" or "What am I avoiding and why?" As you practice, notice small patterns and shifts in your energy or mood. For instance, if you are a student feeling overwhelmed by studies, pause for a moment to ask yourself which subject is weighing on you most and why. This brief self-reflection might reveal that pressure is not just about the assignments, but a desire to make someone proud or a fear of not meeting your own high standards. Realizing this can change your approach, helping you offer yourself kindness or seek support where you need it. In a professional setting, someone feeling unnoticed could use 5 minutes at their desk to reflect on recent achievements or contributions they are proud of, reminding themselves of their value even before receiving external recognition. In personal relationships, taking quiet time to consider your feelings before a difficult conversation can promote deeper empathy and communication, turning moments of conflict into opportunities for honest connection and healing. No matter where you begin, remember that every step you take is valid, and real transformation is built on small, steady choices. The goal is not perfection, it is progress, and progress comes through consistent, authentic attention to your inner world. Celebrate growth in any form it appears, whether it's more peace in your daily routine, a breakthrough thought, or simply noticing your emotions more clearly than before. When you encounter challenges or stumble, frame them as invitations to explore deeper layers of yourself. This is where growth blooms, in the soil of curiosity and compassion. As you close this chapter, carry with you the excitement of discovering what lights up your soul. Next, we will journey deeper into how our thoughts shape the lives we live, and how you can rewire your mind to let in more positivity and hope. Stay with us and take this as your first bold step on a greater adventure. Remember, to keep growing alongside us, subscribe to Awaken Vision, give this video a like, and share your thoughts or questions below to join a supportive community of fellow travelers. Chapter 2. Have you ever noticed how one negative thought can overshadow an entire day, even if most things are going smoothly? It can feel as if our minds are constantly scanning for what is wrong or what might go wrong next, leaving little room for peace or joy. Perhaps you wake in the morning feeling hopeful, but a single small disappointment or self-critical thought spins your mood downward before you have even finished breakfast. You replay your mistakes or anticipate failure, often without even realizing how this cycle begins or how it can control your every move. This challenge is felt by almost everyone. Everyday patterns of thinking can so easily slip into well-worn tracks of pessimism, self-doubt, or worry, shrinking your sense of possibility and making even simple challenges seem impossible to overcome. The understanding of this problem is essential because the way we think shapes every part of our life, sometimes quietly, sometimes loudly. Our thoughts dictate how we experience relationships, careers, and even our health. Science now tells us that our minds are naturally inclined towards noticing the negative, a habit called negative bias. While this trait once helped humans survive by focusing on dangers, it no longer serves us in most modern situations. Instead, it traps us in critical self-talk, discourages us from taking healthy risks, and limits our belief in what we might accomplish. Left unchecked, this cycle grows stronger, weighting daily life with unnecessary heaviness. But what is even more concerning is how unconscious we often are of these thinking patterns. It is as if we wear tinted glasses that shade every experience with doubt or criticism, without ever removing the frames to see clearly. Consider Michael, a hard-working professional who excels by most standards, but still feels as if he is not doing enough. A simple slip in a meeting or a forgotten deadline can flood his mind with harsh self-judgment. Even his successes barely lift his spirits, as his brain jumps quickly to what he could have done better. In relationships, he finds it difficult to accept compliments, and often assumes that positive gestures might be insincere or fleeting. Michael is stuck not because he isn't capable, but because he is caught in the grip of old stories his mind repeats. Stories that limit his ability to notice, celebrate, or truly experience the good in his own life. If you have ever disregarded your strengths or minimized your achievements, you have witnessed this same trap of negativity replay in your own mind. It is encouraging to know that you are not alone in needing to shift your mental habits. Most people, at some point, become aware of how limiting these patterns can be and long for a way to step out from under the shadow of their own doubts. This realization is already a significant first step, because it suggests that your thoughts, while powerful, are not permanent. They can be reshaped and rewired like well-walked paths can be rerouted when we become intentional. In the journey ahead, you will discover how to gently challenge and replace negative thinking with a more balanced, and hopeful perspective, one that leaves room for possibility, progress, and genuine happiness. The key to overcoming patterns of negativity in our thoughts is to learn how to rewire them bit by bit with mindful awareness and intentional practice. This process does not mean banishing all unwelcome thoughts, nor pretending to be happy when things are hard. Instead, it is about gently shifting your internal dialogue to recognize the full truth of your experience, acknowledging what's difficult, while also creating space for even the smallest elements of hope, gratitude, or encouragement. It begins with noticing. When you feel yourself pulled into spirals of self-criticism or worry, pause for a brief mental check-in. What exactly is your mind telling you right now? Name the thought, whether it is, "I'm never doing enough," or "everything will go wrong," and allow yourself to see it not as a fact, but as one possible story your brain offers you out of habit or old fears. This simple act of getting curious about your thoughts interrupts the automatic flow of negativity. Psychology research has shown that conscious awareness of cognition, known as metacognition, actually shifts neural patterns in the brain. By naming your thoughts, you expose them to the light of awareness, which weakens their unconscious hold on you. Once you've recognized these negative stories, try to look for evidence that challenges them. If your mind tells you never get things right, remember a recent small success or time someone thanked you for your help. Gradually, these tiny moments serve as proof that not all your thoughts are accurate, nor are they absolute. The most effective tool for this kind of mental rewiring is a consistent practice of positive reframing. Positive reframing involves consciously choosing to ask yourself, what is another way I could see this? Or is there something here, however small, that I can appreciate, learn from, or turn into motivation? For example, if you have made a mistake at work, instead of concluding that you are incompetent, you might frame the slip-up as an opportunity to grow and show resilience, or to reach out and strengthen a relationship. Scientific studies point out that positive reframing not only changes individual moments, but leads to long-term changes in patterns of thought, increasing optimism and reducing symptoms of anxiety or depression. Committing to this solution is beneficial on many levels. As new habits of thinking take hold, you build resilience against setbacks and more easily find your way back to a hopeful outlook, even on challenging days. Over time, striving for a more balanced mindset does not just make you feel temporarily happier. It helps strengthen your self-image, improve your ability to cope with stress, and opens you up to more meaningful opportunities and relationships. The process of rewiring your thoughts may take patience. Thought patterns built over years can't change overnight, but the first rewards come quickly. A single moment of self-kindness, a pause instead of criticism, or recognizing one small win instead of overlooking it. Practicing this new approach is not about denying reality's hardships, but about equipping yourself with a broader view. By intentionally choosing a gentler perspective, you shift the mental landscape you travel every day so that it is no longer a place dominated by shadows, but one where light is given space to shine. With consistent awareness and compassionate effort, the way you think can transform not only your mood, but your entire experience of life. When you begin to practice positive mental reframing, the benefits become apparent in both subtle and profound ways. Perhaps the first thing you will notice is a lighter overall mood, where each day does not seem quite as heavy or overwhelming as before. As your mind becomes attuned to recognizing accomplishments and valuing effort over sheer perfection, you will likely experience increases in confidence, satisfaction, and even creative problem-solving. Interactions with others can feel warmer and more open as you stop bracing for criticism and begin to trust your ability to handle whatever comes with resilience. With consistent effort, setbacks begin to feel more like temporary detours than permanent failures, giving you space to learn, adjust, and try again. Most importantly, seeing your thoughts shift from criticism to encouragement can heal long-standing patterns of self-doubt, creating room for new ambitions and deeper self-respect. You can begin this transformation today by bringing a few simple steps into your life, no matter how busy or stressed you may be. Start by becoming gently aware of negative thoughts when they arise. Rather than fighting them or pretending they do not exist, pause and offer yourself a moment to observe. This is what I am thinking, but is it the only way to see things? Next, challenge the thought by searching for any evidence that contradicts it. A compliment from a friend, a project completed, an obstacle you once overcame. Allow yourself to acknowledge these counterexamples, however small. Over time, this active search helps build new neural patterns that favor balance and hope. Then, practice positive reframing. When a situation disappoints you, intentionally ask, "What can I learn from this?" or "How might this help me grow?" This powerful question transforms roadblocks into stepping stones, teaching your mind that every experience carries potential meaning and purpose. To see these principles in action, consider a student who receives a disappointing grade. Instead of defining herself as a failure, she chooses to identify moments when she grasped a new concept or worked through confusion. With encouragement from her own inner voice, she not only restores motivation, but gradually improves her study habits as well. In the workplace, an employee facing a difficult project might initially feel stuck and overwhelmed. By pausing to identify recent accomplishments and reminding himself of a time he mastered a similar challenge, he accesses inner resources that enable him to approach the problem methodically rather than with anxiety. Even in relationships, replacing the urge to assume negativity with the belief that every misunderstanding offers the possibility for deeper connection can turn conflicts into opportunities for trust and forgiveness. Remember, rewiring your thoughts is a journey rather than a sprint. Real breakthroughs emerge from consistent, small acts of awareness and kindness to yourself, not from demanding perfection. Every single moment you reframe a thought is a positive sign of growth, and each challenge faced is a building block for renewed optimism and inner ease. Take a moment at the end of your day to celebrate your efforts, however minor they may seem, and reflect on new ways your mind might be seeing the world. See difficulties not as threats, but as invitations to develop new strengths and insights. As you finish this chapter, let a sense of possibility motivate your next steps. In the following chapter, we will explore how practicing gratitude and cultivating resilience can become powerful allies in building a life full of meaning and emotional endurance. Stay connected with our journey and remember to subscribe to the Awaken Vision channel. Give this video a like and share your experiences or suggestions in the comments below to nourish not only your own growth, but that of the entire community. Chapter 3. Life has a way of surprising us with sudden setbacks, disappointments, or moments of loss. Just when things seem to be going well, an unexpected challenge can appear and shake our confidence, leaving us feeling vulnerable or overwhelmed. In these moments, you might wonder how some people seem to bounce back stronger, finding hope and even joy in the midst of adversity. It's easy to feel alone when struggle strikes, especially if the hardship appears to drag on or feel heavier than you expected. Understanding this problem is essential because it is natural to get knocked down by difficulties. What matters most is not just the challenges themselves, but how you choose to respond to them, how willing you are to look for what still works, what can be learned, and what remains good amidst the struggle. In today's world, the pressure to stay positive at all times can feel unrealistic or even isolating when you're facing tough circumstances. True resilience is not about ignoring pain or forcing away discomfort. It is about gently accepting life's trials and choosing to keep moving forward, even if just a step or two at a time. When resilience pairs with gratitude, something powerful happens. Gratitude doesn't pretend that everything is perfect. It just says, even now, there is something I can appreciate or find meaning in. This combination acts like a toolkit, allowing you to weather life's storms with courage and to seek beauty in places you never expected to find it. Consider James, who faced a major job loss just months after buying his first home. It would have been easy to fall into despair or anger, but instead, James allowed himself to truly feel the disappointment and uncertainty. Then, he decided to shift his focus, asking himself, what can I still be grateful for right now? Each night before bed, he wrote down 3 things, however small, from a friendly text message to the gentle sunlight through his window. Over time, these daily notes didn't erase his worries, but they softened them, making stress more manageable and his outlook more hopeful. Rather than seeing himself as defeated by failure, James saw his own ability to adapt and move forward alongside his struggles. This challenge of building resilience while practicing gratitude touches everyone, even if the exact hardships differ. Whether you're flying through a breakup, facing academic pressures, dealing with loneliness, or simply stuck in a rut that feels impossible to escape, it's easy to ignore your progress or lose sight of the good around you. When difficulties are front and center, it's normal to feel hopeless. But this is when resilience and gratitude can help you reclaim your story. The willingness to search for meaning and notice small blessings does not discount your pain. It simply reminds you that you are more than what is happening to you. This is the first step in building the inner foundation for steadiness, no matter what life brings, and it opens the door to an approach that can change the way you experience both hardships and joy. The solution to facing life's difficulties with greater steadiness involves two powerful tools: cultivating resilience and nurturing gratitude, both working hand in hand. Resilience is the capacity to adapt, recover, and even grow in the face of adversity. It is not about avoiding hardships, but learning to respond to them in a way that protects your emotional balance and keeps your spirit from breaking. Gratitude, on the other hand, is the intentional practice of noticing and appreciating the positive aspects that remain, even when circumstances are painful or uncertain. Combined, these practices do not minimize your struggles, but gently guide your attention to what is still possible, offering a different lens for interpreting experiences. The way this approach works is rooted in how your mind and body handle stress and emotions. Research has shown that individuals who intentionally practice gratitude experience more positive emotions, build deeper relationships, and recover from setbacks with greater speed and strength. This is because focusing on what is good, even imperfectly, interrupts the brain's tendency to dwell on what is wrong or threatening. It calms the nervous system, lowers levels of the stress hormone cortisol, and allows space for clearer thinking and problem solving. Resilience is also shaped by the ability to recognize small victories, manage difficult emotions, and draw strength from lessons learned during tough times. Those who seem unbreakable are rarely untouched by struggle. Instead, they have trained themselves, often unintentionally, to notice what remains steady and what can be gained, even when much seems lost. To build this type of response begins with small, conscious choices. Gratitude, for example, can be woven into your daily routine by capturing the tiniest moments of comfort or connection: a warm beverage, a helpful conversation, or a few minutes of peace before the rush of the day. Writing down 3 such moments every night can gradually shift your mindset from scarcity to abundance. This practice is not about pretending bad things don't happen, but about allowing acceptance and hope to coexist. Each entry in your gratitude journal is evidence that not everything is failing, and your life is more complex and promising than any single challenge might suggest. Resilience grows through the gentle habit of self-encouragement and problem-solving. When setbacks do occur, pausing a moment to name your feelings and then asking, "What can I do next?" helps redirect the urge to give up into motivation to try again. Learning from struggles, rather than judging yourself for having them, teaches your mind that hardship is not a dead end, but another way to grow. In this process, connecting gratitude and resilience forms a sturdy internal support system. When you face disappointment, gratitude reminds you of existing strengths and positive moments, fueling resilience to keep going. When you feel wobbly on your path, resilience helps you stand long enough to discover something good worth noticing. This approach is beneficial because it builds emotional flexibility. That flexibility, the willingness to bend without breaking and to hold 2 truths at once, "This hurts, and I am still moving forward," is the heart of genuine well-being. With time and patience, you can learn to face the ups and downs of life with increased steadiness, slowly transforming what once felt overwhelming into a new sense of possibility. Turning resilience and gratitude into everyday habits can bring about profound and noticeable change, not only within your mindset, but also in how you move through the world. People who build resilience and gratitude report more optimism, quicker recovery from setbacks, and a greater sense of control over their circumstances. Life's difficulties no longer define you. Instead, you recognize your ability to influence how you respond to each moment. Emotional strength becomes more accessible, and the experience of joy, regardless of outside events, feels more genuine. Your relationships flourish because you bring an attitude of appreciation and hope to each interaction, nurturing connection even in challenging times. You find that stress, though unavoidable, impacts you less sharply, and that it's easier to reset and realign after a hard day or an unexpected disappointment. As this shift takes root, life opens up in fresh ways. Opportunities for growth, learning, and deeper connections become apparent, where before only obstacles seem to exist. Implementing resilience and gratitude doesn't have to be complicated or time-consuming. Start by creating a dedicated gratitude journal, taking just a few minutes at the end of each day to write down 3 things, however small, that sparked comfort or appreciation. Don't worry about grand gestures. A good meal, a smile from a friend, or a moment of peace in a busy day all count. Reinforce your habit by setting gentle reminders, such as a note on your bedside table or a daily alarm. To build resilience, occasionally reflect on the challenges you faced during the day. Ask yourself what you learned from those moments, and give yourself credit for how you responded, even if your progress feels imperfect. Celebrate small wins and lean on supportive people when navigating tougher times, whether that means reaching out for a listening ear or sharing your gratitude lists with a trusted friend to strengthen your sense of community. Consider real-life situations for practicing these habits. For personal growth, if you're struggling with self-doubt, look back on the hurdles you've already overcome. Make a list of the qualities and skills that got you there, and give thanks for how far you've come. In relationships, instead of dwelling on misunderstandings, try expressing thanks for the support or kindness others give, even if everything isn't perfect. In your work life, when projects become stressful, pause to note progress or lessons learned, as this reinforces confidence and perseverance. For those studying, challenging assignments become more manageable by finding gratitude in the progress you're making and recognizing your resilience in persisting through each lesson. The most important thing to remember is that both gratitude and resilience are built in small steps. There will be days when it feels easier, and others when searching for something positive may seem nearly impossible. On difficult days, simply notice the effort you made to try, because simply trying in itself is an act of resilience. Each step counts, and over time, you'll look back and see how even small, steady changes have created new strength and light in your life. Reflect often on your progress, appreciating what has changed internally, even before you see results in the world around you. You are growing sturdier, braver, and more open with each day you embrace these habits. As you look forward, get ready to explore how perspective, the way you view your world, can further empower your emotional well-being and help you transform challenges into new understanding. Next time, we'll learn how to harness the power of perspective to keep building your toolkit for meaningful growth. Stay with us on this journey, subscribe to Awaken Vision, give this video a like, and share in the comments how resilience and gratitude are shaping your story. Your voice and feedback inspire this community to flourish and reach new heights. Chapter 4. Sometimes life can feel like a puzzle where all the pieces are mismatched and nothing quite fits. You may find yourself facing a challenge that seems insurmountable, a disappointment that clouds your view, or a routine that suddenly feels uninspiring. In these moments, it is natural to get pulled into a fixed way of thinking, to see only the problem and lose sight of other options. This narrowing of vision can leave you feeling stuck, frustrated, and convinced there is no way out. Even the most resilient people can be caught off guard by how quickly their world shrinks to the size of a single setback or negative experience. It happens in personal struggles, office conflicts, and family disagreements, leaving you replaying the same worries and missing opportunities for growth, hiding just beyond your line of sight. Understanding this challenge is essential because the way you view a situation, the lens you look through, shapes your thoughts, feelings, and the actions you believe are possible. If that lens is clouded by stress, fear, or negativity, it blocks you from seeing creative solutions and blinds you to the strengths you already possess. In tough times, perspective often erodes, making mountains out of molehills or turning temporary setbacks into permanent roadblocks. More than anything, this habit of focusing on only one side of an issue can cause you to miss the good that remains, the lessons learned, and routes to progress that are still open. If you find yourself spiraling into why me or things never change, it's a signal that it's time to check the perspective you're holding and ask if it's narrowing your possibilities. Imagine Emma, who recently received constructive criticism at work. Instead of viewing the feedback as an opportunity to learn, she immediately felt embarrassed, singled out, and discouraged. All she could see was her mistake, overlooking praise she'd received earlier in the week and friendly offers of help from colleagues. In her mind, the criticism became a sentence, convincing her she was failing in her job. Meanwhile, a coworker who received similar feedback saw it as a chance to refine her skills and show growth on her next project. The difference lies not in talent or intelligence, but in each person's perspective, the way they interpreted and responded to the same event. We all have moments when a single problem seems to define everything, pushing out other truths or silver linings. But there is immense power in recognizing that perspective is not set in stone. It can be shifted, expanded, and consciously directed to create more room for hope, possibility, and courage. By learning to step back and view situations from new angles, you give yourself the gift of flexibility and freedom. This ability to reinterpret your experiences is not about denial or false optimism. It is about discovering what's possible when you see beyond first impressions and fears. Embracing this challenge prepares you for growth, as each shift in perspective opens up new choices and fresh energy for what comes next. The pathway to overcoming the trap of a limiting perspective begins with the practice of intentionally shifting the way you interpret events or challenges. The core of this solution is learning to recognize that every situation, no matter how fixed it may seem, can often be seen in more than one way. Start by pausing when adversity strikes. Ask yourself, is there another way to view this? Or what might someone else notice here that I am missing? This doesn't dismiss your original reaction. Instead, it unfolds more possibilities, adding nuance and depth to your understanding. When you look at events from multiple angles, you free yourself from the tunnel vision that breeds discouragement, frustration, or self-doubt. At the psychological level, consciously shifting perspective interrupts the brain's default storytelling process, which often clings to the most immediate and usually negative interpretation. Studies in the field of cognitive behavioral therapy show that simply questioning your initial assumptions opens up new neural pathways, allowing more flexible thinking and healthier responses. When you habitually look for alternative interpretations, your mind becomes more adaptable. You build up what psychologists call cognitive flexibility, a skill strongly linked to resilience, creativity, and problem solving. This not only soothes emotional distress, but empowers you to act with resourcefulness, finding steps forward that felt hidden before. One practical way to leverage this mental shift is through perspective-taking exercises. When you face a challenge, consciously imagine how someone you respect might approach the same issue. Would they see an opportunity where you feel stuck, or value a lesson that you are missing? For example, in Emma's case, she could pause and ask, if my mentor received this feedback, how might they interpret it? Would they feel defeated or use it as information to guide their growth? By considering perspectives outside your own automatic response, you distance yourself from unhelpful self-judgments and tap into constructive and uplifting strategies. Research on gratitude and mindfulness also illustrates that a broadened perspective brings psychological and even physical benefits. Individuals who learn to step outside a single viewpoint are more willing to seek collaboration, accept help, and embrace new experiences. Their stress response systems become less reactive, leading to improved well-being over time. This expansion in your worldview is not about forced optimism or ignoring real issues, It's about giving yourself the agency to choose more supportive, balanced interpretations. That choice is itself empowering, reminding you that while you may not control every circumstance, you do control how you respond to and make meaning from them. By embracing the habit of perspective shifting, you create freedom from knee-jerk reactions and the heaviness of stuck thinking. Every time you widen your view, you train your mind and heart to look for possibilities. This shift supports self-growth because you become less afraid of mistakes and more open to learning, connection, and making progress. Perspective shifting makes adversity manageable, achievements more visible, and daily life more dynamic and hopeful. Over time, even small changes in your interpretation of events can open up pathways you never realized were within reach, leading to greater satisfaction, resilience, and peace. Adopting the habit of shifting your perspective brings a wave of positive change that ripples through every aspect of life. It empowers you to neutralize self-doubt and transform stuck moments into turning points for growth. With an open mind, frustrations begin to lose their intensity, and you are less likely to be hijacked by stress or pessimism. The world seems wider and more full of possibilities when you actively look for alternative ways of seeing a situation. People who practice this skill consistently find it easier to solve problems, recover from setbacks, and adapt skillfully in new or uncertain circumstances. The reward is a greater sense of confidence and autonomy because you learn that your response, not the event itself, holds the ultimate power to shape your experience. To make this shift a regular part of your life, consider a few easy yet powerful techniques. Whenever you notice yourself tangled in self-criticism or feeling trapped by a problem, pause and ask, what else could be true here? Take a slow breath and imagine at least one other way to interpret the situation, whether from the view of a wise friend, a colleague, or someone you admire. Another exercise is to picture the same challenge a year from now. Will it matter as much, or could it look very different with the gift of time? Keeping a journal can help too. Write down a challenging event and list 3 possible explanations or lessons, rather than getting stuck in your first reaction. Practice asking open questions like, how might this event help me grow? Or, what opportunities is this challenge pointing me toward? With each step, you are training your brain to venture beyond limitations and become more flexible. Consider how this can look in daily life. In the context of personal growth, when you struggle with a failed goal, you might first feel frustration or disappointment. By consciously searching for an alternative perspective, you may appreciate what the effort taught you, or notice increased patience or discipline, even if the original plan didn't unfold as hoped. In relationships, try putting yourself in the other person's shoes during a disagreement. Asking, what are they feeling or fearing, can remove blame and make space for empathy, leading to deeper connection. At work or school, when faced with criticism or setbacks, deliberately frame them as pathways for building new skills, rather than as verdicts on your abilities. Uni students might look at a poor grade not merely as a shortcoming, but as a signal to try different study strategies that suit their learning style. Progress in shifting your perspective comes in small, steady increments. It might feel awkward at first, but with patience, the habit will grow stronger, bringing a lighter, braver attitude to every situation you encounter. Celebrate each moment that you manage to step back and see things differently. This is how inner strength is built. Allow yourself to reflect on changes in your thinking and notice the times when you feel more resourceful or discover hope where you once only found frustration. Every experience, no matter how challenging, holds the promise of new understanding and self-discovery. Looking ahead, we will dive even deeper into navigating your inner emotional landscape as you learn to master emotional energy shifts, another essential ingredient in long-term growth and well-being. Stay a part of our journey by subscribing to Awaken Vision, giving this video a like, and sharing in the comments how perspective shifts are opening new possibilities in your daily life. Your voice inspires us all to see beyond our limits and grow together. Chapter 5. There are days when your emotional energy feels like it's under the control of forces you can't see or influence. One moment you might be hopeful and engaged, and the next you're weighed down by anxiety, frustration, or fatigue with no clear reason why. It's as if your mood has been hijacked against your will, changing the way you view yourself, others, and what's possible for your day. You may start off with good intentions, setting goals, meeting responsibilities, planning quality time with people who matter, only to find your motivation slipping away at the first sign of stress or overwhelm. Some days, a single negative interaction at work or a disappointing email can send you spiraling, leaving you restless and uncertain how to bring yourself back to center. If you've ever felt swept away by your inner weather, you are not alone. Many people find their emotional energy feels unpredictable and fragile, tugged this way and that by circumstances beyond their control. Understanding this challenge matters more than you might guess, because this same emotional volatility can quietly erode your sense of joy, diminish your productivity, and shape your self-concept. When your mood is on a roller coaster, it becomes harder to trust yourself and find steady ground in your relationships, studies, or work. You might pull back from opportunities simply because you fear your energy will vanish when you need it most, or you place your sense of well-being in the hands of others, waiting for compliments, recognition, or ideal circumstances to feel okay again. What becomes clear is that, in these moments, your emotions aren't only temporary states, but powerful filters affecting how much of your real potential you actually access and express. Let's take the example of Priya, a college student who started her semester full of excitement and resolve. She participated in class, took good notes, and joined study groups. But when a close friend suddenly stopped speaking to her, Priya found her motivation drying up. She tried to ignore her feelings at first, but her energy crashed. Classes she once enjoyed now felt exhausting, and she caught herself snapping at roommates who asked simple questions. Priya's emotional energy, drained by one painful experience, began to shape her whole outlook. No matter how much she told herself to snap out of it, she could not simply will herself back to her old self. If you relate to Priya's struggle, recognize how common it is to underestimate both the weight and the power of your emotional state. Many people are never taught how to actively manage their emotional energy or shift it in empowering ways. They might default to pushing away uncomfortable feelings, only to watch them return stronger, or believing that real happiness is only possible after circumstances improve dramatically. The truth is, the ability to shift your emotional energy, to rise above lows, nurture highs, and bring yourself back to balance, is a skill, not a lucky accident. Learning to guide your own emotional state can help you reclaim control, build real resilience, and access energy from within, regardless of what life has in store. The answer to regaining control over your emotional energy lies in becoming aware of your emotions in the moment and learning gentle ways to shift, regulate, or recharge them. This starts with cultivating emotional awareness, the habit of noticing your feelings as they arise, without judging or suppressing them. By taking a few moments to pause, name your current emotion, and observe where it's showing up in your body, you break the automatic cycle that carries you away on waves of strong feelings. Neuroscience research shows that naming your emotion, known as affect labeling, calms the emotional centers in your brain and brings more clarity, with that helping you respond thoughtfully rather than react automatically. Once you have acknowledged your emotional state, the next step is to intentionally shift your energy in a direction that supports your well-being. One of the most effective methods for this is to engage in grounding activities, simple practices that bring you back to the present and calm your nervous system. These might include taking deep, slow breaths, stretching your body, listening to calming music, stepping outside for fresh air, or savoring a comforting beverage. Practicing mindfulness in these moments, simply bringing gentle attention to the sights, sounds, and sensations around you, helps disrupt the momentum of negativity or stress and plants you back in reality, which is rarely as bad as your anxious mind imagines. In addition to grounding, it's also important to learn how to seed your emotional state with positive input. This means intentionally introducing small moments of enjoyment, accomplishment, or connection, even when you don't initially feel like it. Research shows that positive emotions have a broadening effect on your attention and problem-solving abilities, creating a kind of emotional upward spiral. For example, if you're feeling dull or unmotivated, a short walk outdoors, a call to a supportive friend, or 5 minutes of creative activity can act as emotional jump starts. These don't erase painful moments, but help shift your body and mind toward a state where you can approach life's challenges with more resilience and perspective. It's also valuable to give yourself permission to rest or reset if your emotional energy feels truly depleted. Many people push through emotional exhaustion out of guilt or obligation, believing they must always keep going. Yet allowing yourself brief periods of rest, such as a quick nap, a digital break, or even a mindful snack, can help restore your reserves. Over time, regularly honoring this need teaches your nervous system to reset itself, making future emotional shifts smoother and more automatic. Embracing these practices as part of daily life doesn't just offer momentary relief, it creates the foundation for greater long-term stability and well-being. Each time you recognize and wisely respond to your emotions, you reinforce inner confidence and trust. You show yourself that you are capable of guiding your energy rather than being dominated by it. This self-respect grows, and even on challenging days, you learn that your emotional lows are not the full story. Consistently applying these strategies gradually transforms your emotional life into one where ups and downs are not threats, but invitations to rediscover your own capacity for balance, hope, and renewed purpose. When you begin to master the art of shifting your emotional energy, the benefits ripple through every corner of your life. You notice an increased sense of calm and clarity, even during uncertainty or stress. Instead of being swept away by the intensity of negative moments, you discover a steadier foundation, able to pause, reflect, and choose your response. Over time, emotional energy becomes something you direct, not something that controls you. Confidence grows as you prove to yourself, again and again, that you have the resources within you to regain balance. This newfound emotional agility helps you recover more quickly from setbacks, maintain motivation in projects or studies, and nurture relationships with empathy and patience. You start to look at your moods not as storms to fear, but as signals you can listen to, learn from, and when needed, gently adjust. To make these skills part of your daily experience, begin by setting short check-in times throughout your day. Pause for just a minute in the morning, afternoon, and evening, closing your eyes and asking yourself, what am I feeling? Give your feelings a simple name like tense, content, or scattered. If you notice tension or stress, use a grounding technique. Take a few deep breaths, stretch your body, or have a sip of water and notice its sensation. Try to connect one positive or soothing activity to times when your mood feels low. Listen to music you love, step outside, write in a journal, or engage in a small creative activity. These moments don't need to last long. Just a few intentional minutes can act as reset buttons, interrupting emotional spirals before they go too deep. Real-life applications bring these practices to life. For instance, if you're feeling frustrated at work after a difficult meeting, take a quick break before returning to your desk. Close your eyes, identify the feeling, and let your body relax with each breath. Before you respond to colleagues or move on to another project, highlight even a single thing about your day that is going well, even if small. In relationships, if conflict or disappointment arises, excuse yourself for a moment to acknowledge what you feel so you can return to the conversation calmer and more thoughtful. In personal growth work or study, use mood check-ins before and after tough assignments to detect shifts and employ supportive strategies, like a short walk or snack, to make bouncing back a normal part of your routine. Remember that consistency, not perfection, is the key to progress. Celebrate every effort, whether you catch a spiral early or simply notice you needed a break. Each small win, each conscious pause adds to your capacity for balance and self-compassion. Reflection also matters. Once a week, look back at moments when you were able to support and shift your emotional energy. Notice patterns, celebrate improvements, and affirm your capability to guide yourself with more confidence than before. The ultimate goal is not to rid life of emotional difficulties, but to turn each challenge into an opportunity for learning and self-renewal. Looking ahead, get excited to learn how to keep this sense of progress burning brightly as we explore ways to sustain the light of growth and transformation, no matter what evolves in your life. As always, subscribe to Awaken Vision for more insight. Like this video if you found these practices meaningful, and add your personal stories or advice to the comments. Your journey can inspire someone else to find their own calm inside the storm. Chapter 6. It is one thing to spark growth in your life, but it is an entirely different challenge to keep that light burning day after day. Many people start strong when they set out to make positive changes, fueled by motivation, inspiration, and a clear sense of purpose. The first few steps forward feel fresh and exciting. Routines are easy to follow, attitudes become brighter, and setbacks are handled with resolve. But as time goes on and daily pressures build, maintaining that same energy and clarity often becomes difficult. Doubt begins to whisper, routines slip, and the old comfort of past habits tries to pull you back. You may notice your enthusiasm has faded, your focus is scattered, and the intentions that once felt urgent now sit patiently on the sidelines of your busy life. Understanding this challenge is essential, as it reveals the sometimes hidden cycles of excitement and discouragement that affect real, lasting success. Progress is rarely a straight line. There are times of acceleration, times of stagnation, and even moments of discouragement so profound that the progress already made is almost forgotten. Failing to anticipate these natural shifts often leads people to interpret slowdowns as evidence of personal failure, rather than seeing them as a part of the normal rhythm of growth. This is when the temptation to abandon your journey, whether it's self-reflection, healthier habits, or setting new boundaries, can feel overwhelming. If you've ever started with burning motivation and found yourself frustrated months later by lack of progress, you are experiencing the very human struggle of staying consistent in growth when adversity or boredom returns. Consider the story of Marcus, who committed to daily journaling to cultivate self-awareness and positivity. Eager from the start, he filled pages each night, amazed at the insights he was gathering. But after a few weeks, work became more demanding, old routines crept back, and his journal began to gather dust. When Marcus noticed this, he felt guilty, thinking he had failed himself yet again. He wondered why holding on to good habits was so difficult, and questioned if he was truly capable of changing in any enduring way. Like many, Marcus was experiencing what so many feel. Sustaining change can be even harder than starting it. You might also recognize yourself in Marcus, or in anyone who has returned to square one after a promising beginning. The reason this pattern is so common is that growth requires not only motivation in the early stages, but also deep commitment, renewed intention, and strategies for overcoming the inevitable setbacks and fatigue. If you see your fire for growth dimming, don't lose heart. What matters most is not perfection in maintaining habits, but the willingness to return, refocus, and rekindle your inner light regardless of how many times the flame flickers. Until we address how to create staying power and resilience within our patterns, even the most promising self-development efforts risk fading into old routines. This understanding is the first step in learning how to sustain the light of your personal growth, no matter how many chapters your story ends up containing. The key to sustaining the light of growth lies in building rituals and mindsets that nurture consistency, patience, and gentle self-compassion. Change that lasts is often less about grand leaps and more about returning, day after day, to simple practices that support your core values and goals. This solution hinges on creating a reliable framework for your personal growth that can weather both predictable setbacks and those moments when your motivation drops unexpectedly. The first part of this approach means turning growth efforts into rituals instead of relying on fleeting inspiration. For example, if you want to maintain a practice like journaling or daily gratitude, it helps to link it to another stable part of your routine, perhaps every morning after breakfast or right before bed. When positive actions are anchored to habits you already have, keeping them going feels less like a chore and more like a natural part of your life. Alongside these rituals, nurturing the right mindset is essential. Instead of measuring your growth by dramatic improvements or flawless streaks, cultivate the habit of celebrating returning to your path, even after lapses. Research in behavioral psychology highlights that building habits without shaming yourself for setbacks is key for long-term change. The most successful people are not the ones who never falter, but those who forgive themselves quickly, recommit, and adjust their strategies. If you anticipate setbacks and approach them with understanding rather than guilt, you encourage your mind to see challenges as growth opportunities instead of proof you can't change. Positive self-talk, periodic reflection, and reminders of your reasons for growth create psychological fuel to motivate repeated renewal. Breaking large goals into smaller, more manageable steps is another powerful support for sustainability. When ambitions feel overwhelming, it's easy to lose focus and motivation. Instead, set tiny, achievable actions. Completing one page in your journal or making one positive decision a day is realistic and builds success momentum. According to research on habit formation, small, repeatable steps light up the brain's reward center, making the process satisfying and more likely to stick. Over time, these little wins add up to lasting transformation far more effectively than bursts of short-lived discipline or guilt-driven effort. This solution benefits you because it positions growth as a compassionate process you return to over and over, rather than a strict race to the finish. Your energy is spent adapting and recommitting instead of criticizing yourself and abandoning hope. This steady resilience lays the foundation for genuine self-trust. As you learn to navigate waning motivation, you also train your mind to stay flexible, find new strategies, and adapt your efforts to life's changing seasons. Eventually, what was once hard becomes second nature, supporting not only your confidence but the depth of transformation in every part of your life. Above all, sustaining your light for growth isn't about being perfect, but about believing in the power of consistently showing up for yourself, even as your journey twists and turns. By making rituals supportive and mindsets gentle, you grant yourself permission to flourish and evolve, knowing each return to practice is an act of hope and commitment to your unique journey. Adopting the practice of consistency and gentle recommitment brings about lasting change that feels authentic and reliable. As you make daily rituals for your growth, you gradually build a deep sense of trust in yourself, realizing that real progress is less about perfection and more about showing up over and over. This shift allows your efforts to feel lighter, motivated not by pressure but by a quiet joy in your journey. You will find over time that small efforts accumulate into powerful momentum. Even on days when motivation is low, returning to your routine, no matter how imperfectly, keeps your vision alive and prevents setbacks from becoming permanent. The reward is seeing your persistence pay off as you adapt with flexibility to life's changes, increase self-respect, and unlock gradual transformation. To solidify this approach, begin by identifying the routines in your daily life that you can attach your growth habit to. For example, if personal reflection is your goal, link it to a peaceful time after morning coffee or as you prepare for bed. Make it as simple as possible at first, perhaps just one line in a journal or a moment of mindful breathing. If your focus is relationship growth, practice a small daily act of kindness for someone close to you, a message, a smile, or listening with full attention. In your work or studies, break projects into bite-sized goals, celebrating finishing each small portion before moving to the next. The aim is to let positive actions ride along with habits you already do without much effort, making them less negotiable and more natural parts of your day. If you notice yourself straying from your practice, resist harsh self-talk. Instead, gently ask, "What got in the way, and how can I make it easier next time?" This reflection removes blame and replaces it with curiosity and problem-solving. Setting visual cues, like sticky notes or reminders, offers practical support on days when memories slip. When obstacles arise, brainstorm a very small alternative rather than giving up altogether. For instance, if you miss your evening journaling time, try reflecting for just a minute before sleep, or voice record your thoughts while on a walk. Each flexible, forgiving choice builds resilience rather than resentment. People who follow this approach in ordinary life report greater satisfaction and continuity in self-improvement. A student who links reviewing notes to brushing their teeth each night finds study no longer feels like a struggle. A manager who schedules a 5-minute team check-in at the end of meetings builds trust and open communication in incremental ways. Someone nurturing a relationship finds that a nightly appreciation message, scripted during a break, creates long-term warmth and understanding. Each of these examples shows how the art of sustainable growth lies in blending motivation with routine, resilience with kindness toward yourself, and bold goals with small, reliable steps. Let these lessons encourage you. Every stumble is a chance to renew your why and prove your perseverance. Reflect on what has supported your consistency in the past, acknowledge any growth, and trust the long process. Celebrate your willingness to continue, not just your results. By recognizing that growth shines brightest when maintained with gentle care, you step confidently into a future where your goals remain vibrant despite the darkness of everyday setbacks. As you conclude this chapter, remember that the flame you have nurtured is yours to tend, reignite, and expand, no matter what arises. The journey of deep reflection and intentional growth promises ongoing discovery. Take pride in your persistence and look forward to further chapters in your life, each shaped by your commitment to sustaining the light within. As you reach the end of this journey through soul pause, deep reflection for emotional growth, remember that every step, igniting your inner flame, rewiring your thoughts, nurturing resilience and gratitude, shifting your perspective, mastering emotional energy, and learning to sustain your progress, has equipped you to build lasting change from within. Growth is a continual process made powerful by self-awareness, small consistent actions, and a kind approach to your own setbacks. Thank you for taking the time to invest in yourself by exploring these ideas and practices with us. Your willingness to reflect and grow inspires not only personal transformation, but also a ripple of positivity in the world around you. If this content brought you encouragement or insight, please show your support by liking this video, leaving a comment about your journey, and subscribing to the Awaken Vision channel for more self-growth guidance.